Hello everyone and welcome to Noodle Journey, your destination for detailed and informative reviews of the instant noodle universe. And the last review of 2024 is going to go down in history as one of the craziest products I've ever seen. This is a limited edition blowfish flavored ramen cup, Nissin Raoh Fugu Dashi Yuzushio. Before we get started, please remember to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy these reviews. It all helps the channel to grow, and it's a really nice thing to do considering I'm about to eat the extract of a poisonous fish. Yeah, so this was a limited edition variety that Nissin released in Japan in June of 2024, and I apologize for not reviewing it sooner, but I wanted it to be a special occasion. And that special occasion is now, not only the last review of 2024, but I also like to do crazy reviews sometimes to celebrate subscriber milestones, and the channel just passed 2,000 subscribers a couple weeks ago, which is amazing. Thank you so much, every single one of you. For your viewing pleasure, you get to watch me review ramen with poisonous fish in the ingredients. This is something I never thought I'd see in a ramen cup. Fugu, aka blowfish, aka pufferfish, aka that fish that turns into a ball of spikes and pokes you, which paralyzes you until you die. The sushi that almost killed Homer Simpson 34 years ago. That's what's in here. But don't worry, folks. Nissin has created a seasoning oil that is supposed to add the flavor of grilled pufferfish to this noodle cup without the risk of death. Or so they claim. I guess we'll see depending on how this video goes. Just kidding, Nissin. Don't sue me. And this is part of the Nissin Raoh product line, which means premium air-dried noodles and broth ingredients. So despite its looks, this is not a cup noodle. Now the broth itself in here is a Dashi Yuzushio, which means a seafood and kelp salt broth with some yuzu citrus flavor in it. And that sounds like a neat combo to me. I've enjoyed Yuzushio ramen on the channel before, but never quite like this. So let's jump into the ingredients so I can get to eating this and seeing if it's actually fatal. Again, just kidding. On the back here, we've got a hefty salt equivalent of 6.2 grams, which is a bit over 2,400 milligrams of sodium. So they're not kidding when they call this a salt broth. Now, as far as what's in this, as you can see on the lid, we've got the infamous pufferfish flavored seasoning oil. And in the cup itself, and had to give that a few shakes there so you can see everything. You've got a bunch of medium gauged air-dried noodles. There's a broth powder made from salt, lard, extracts of pork, chicken, and seafood, kelp, yuzu, and yes, actual pufferfish extract. So cool. The dried toppings that you see in there are chicken meatballs, eggs, and green onions. Now, unlike cup noodles, this takes 5 minutes to steep since it's got those air-dried Raoh noodles inside. So I'll go take care of that and I will be right back. Okay, and here we go. The oil sachet heats on top of the cup as it steeps, but I'm going to give this a quick stir and taste it before adding the oil, just to get a good idea about this on its own. Right now, it smells like a pretty standard dashi broth, which is to say, pretty fishy. I'm not really getting any citrus aromas, nothing else super crazy in there, but it smells pretty good if you like dashi. All right, so I'm just going to have a quick taste of this broth without the oil to get an idea of what the base flavor here is. And, you know, hopefully that pufferfish extract in here is inert from a poison perspective. No, just kidding, just kidding. It's not killing me. It's actually pretty nice already from a flavor perspective. Salty, fishy, not a whole lot of citrus, but a very nice, comforting flavor. So let's see what happens when I put the oil in. Okay, that is where all of the citrus flavor is hiding. There's also some fish flavor in the oil, possibly some pepper I'm picking up. It's a good oil. Now, does the oil or the broth taste like puffer fish? I honestly have no idea. I have no frame of reference for what puffer fish is supposed to smell or taste like, so I just have to assume that this is in the same ballpark as grilled fugu. So, all right, enough stirring. It gave the broth a nice oily consistency. I'm sure it's going to change the flavor a little bit. Well, let's get on with this review. Wish me luck. All right, so no immediate lung paralysis to report. So we'll start with the noodle score. I gave Nissin Raoh noodles a 9 the last time I had them in a pack form. They've normally got a wonderful, chewy texture to them, exactly what you would expect from a premium air-dried noodle. And here in this cup form, they're close. Mostly similar, but there's something a little bit off, and I have to assume it's the compromise to get them in this cup able to be steeped rather than boiled. So maybe a little thinner, a little softer, still very good, but just not quite as good in my opinion. So I'm going to give the noodles an 8 out of 10. Now the spiciness score is a 0 out of 10. There's nothing spicy about this except the potential of your own impending doom. Kidding. Kidding, Nissin. So let's talk about the broth flavor. As far as fish broth goes, it's pretty mild. It is definitely fishy, but it's not like in-your-face fishy. There's a nice balance of savory elements with the fish stock, and the addition of the oil in here gives it kind of almost a buttery aftertaste, which is really nice. The citrus flavor from the yuzu is really mild. It was apparent when I licked the concentrated oil off my finger, but here mixed into this broth, it's just a very minor back-end note to the rest of the flavors, which is probably good because I know yuzu is kind of a divisive flavor when it comes to ramen. Personally, I like it, but I've heard a lot of people say that they don't think yuzu belongs in ramen broth. I don't have a dog in that fight, so to each their own. This being a shio broth that is reasonably salty, the dehydrated egg bits in here are almost imperceptible. There's a couple of tiny little yellow bits floating in here, but they're not the same giant... Yeah, I can't even pick one out. Here we go. Yeah, you can barely see it. They're not the same giant chunks of yellow egg that you see in other cup noodle flavors. Oh, here's an even better one. Yeah. So like if you're grossed out by the eggs in cup noodles, they're not at all distracting or large or funny tasting or overly spongy, which is fine by me. It also kind of begs the question, what are they doing in here? They don't really add anything, but the chicken meatballs are great. Yeah, I like these. They're more or less a milder spiced version of Nissin's mystery meat from Cup Noodle Original and other flavors. And they have a nice savory chicken quality to them that pairs well against this sweet and savory fish broth. So all in all, yes, this is kind of a gimmicky flavor. I don't find anything overly unique about the fish flavor in here that makes me say, oh, okay, that's what fugu tastes like. It's just a nice mild fish broth. Gimmicky, yes, but flavorful, inoffensive, interesting seasoning oil, and I think all of this together warrants a score of a 7 out of 10. Once you're past the gimmick of this being a blowfish-flavored ramen, it's just a standard salty fish broth. All right, well, I've been talking for several minutes now. There's no paralysis, so I guess I live to review another day. And I gotta say, this was kind of a wild ride. Yes, it draws your attention by having that puffer fish aspect, but it's honestly a pretty solid dashi and citrus broth on its own merits, and I'm happy to have tried it. It's not something I ever need to buy again. I did actually buy 2 of these from Japanese Snacks Republic, so, you know, I've got another one for whenever. But if you're curious yourself, there might still be some residual stock of this on eBay or on some Japanese noodle websites. And if you're really interested in trying it, go for it. Ace Cook makes a blowfish ramen cup as well, if you can find it, but I have no idea how it compares to this one. Anyway, with all that out of the way, the next review will probably be something a little more pedestrian, so I hope you'll join me for that. In the meantime, let me know in the comments the craziest instant noodle flavor you've ever tried. Or if you've ever eaten pufferfish yourself, please tell me all about it because I've never gotten to experience that. Thanks again for the awesome year and the awesome subscriber milestone, and I'll see you in 2025 here again on Noodle Journey.